Okay, so another popular diagnostic trouble codes that are reasons for failing the state emissions programs around the country is a p0171 code. We all know that that means bank 1 is too lean. Honestly, the p0171 and p0174, we'd approach both of those codes in the same manner. We're looking for some kind of lean running condition. We've talked quite a bit about the fuel trim values and the oxygen sensors already, so we would still use those same styles of tests to help us determine what the cause is for the rich or lean running condition. In this scenario with this particular code, it would be a lean running condition. So the most common cause, again, the silver bullet if you want, oftentimes would be a vacuum leak. You guys know from working on vehicles for a long period of time, a smoke machine would probably be your best friend in trying to locate that vacuum leak. Whether it be an air boot leak or possibly you could have low fuel pressure or low fuel volume. Again, these are just common sense thoughts that are going into your mind when you come and approach a code, something like a p0171. Again, we've already talked in great detail about all the fuel trim diagnostics and the oxygen sensor diagnostics to help you locate what the possibility could happen to be. A smoke machine, though, like we said before, that's going to be your key tool in your arsenal to help you try to diagnose if there's a vacuum leak present or not. The next popular code that we want to make a few brief words about is a p0455. This is a gross evap leak. Now, as a technician, you guys are just like me. I'd rather find a gross vehicle leak in 90% of the time over a small evap leak because it's a lot easier to find a big hole than it is a small hole, correct? So why do I say only 90% of the time I'd like to find a 455 code over a much smaller leak, like say a 452 or 456 related code? Well, it's because on the large leak code, remember, the way the strategies are doctrined into all the different vehicles manufacturers, we test for a large leak first. Doesn't necessarily mean we don't also have a small leak present. So it's one of those diagnostic pitfalls where maybe if we just had blinders on or tunnel vision and we found the large leak, this is a prime opportunity for us to go in and say, hey, after I fix this large leak, let's say the gas cap was left off, after I fix this large leak, am I going to get a diagnostic trouble code for another evap related trouble code for, say, a small leak present? So the most common cause is usually something that's a large leak. So either a gas cap that has failed, maybe it's off. One thing that I'm finding in Ohio, which is where I'm from, Ohio's emissions program, if it fails a gas cap test, they'll give you a new gas cap. In the past month alone, I've had 3 vehicles that just came from the Ohio emissions testing program that were all given a new gas cap, which is now turned the check engine light on because it's the wrong gas cap for the vehicle. So if your state's doing something like that, keep that in mind that, you know, for whatever reason, I don't know if they're using some kind of parts lookup table or what, it could possibly have a wrong brand new gas cap on it. So keep that in mind as a little diagnostic tidbit of information out there. Filler necks that are corroded out, especially in the rust belt, you know, any type of hose that maybe got dry rotted and came off, you know, the Ford products in the driver's side wheel well, they got the little rubber hose that connects to the steel line, and that sharp little 90-degree elbow always dry rotted and cracked, and that was a common cause for an evap control system problem like this. Caravans underneath the air cleaner box was the other common issue of where that hose would crack and cause a gross leak like that. So, you know, there are some silver bullets out there of where to look first. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's going to be the problem, but this is what my mindset's thinking when I come across a 455 related trouble code. Again, how do I want to go ahead and if I have a specific code like a 455, I want to see what the code setting criteria is. So on the screen now is a typical evaporative purge mode 6 data screen. Now in this example of an evap test, I guarantee you they shut down running, no matter what kind of car it is, they shut down running for a small leak because it's impossible to test for a small leak if there's a huge leak present. So remember that. Remember to use the mode 6, look at the diagnostic information. Again, AVI has start to finish classes on mode 6 by itself. You can go in there, you can look to see if, hey, after this large leak is fixed, am I going to have a problem with a small leak creep up on us? So again, use every piece of diagnostic information available to you, use it to your advantage, and whatever the most common sense approach way that you think is to go ahead and use this information. So what's on our minds when we're looking for a gross leak like this? Again, just to kind of recap the whole mindset, the diagnostic mindset, that the point we're trying to get across in this introductory little diagnostic training series here. We know that we're looking for a relatively large leak on the vehicle. So I could use my smoke machine. Maybe you guys are using your evap testers themselves with the compressed gas cylinders and everything. Whatever you guys are using now, I'm not here to tell you guys to stop doing it the way you guys were doing it. We're looking for a large leak. If I'm thinking that possibly I might have a canister vent shut valve that's the problem, remember when we're doing these tests, and this is the one thing to keep in mind with bidirectional testing, when we're doing the test, a lot of times if I was using flow charts, it might tell me to listen for the solenoid to be clicking. Well, as I'm energizing it with my scan tool. Well, just because it's clicking doesn't mean that mechanically the valve is opening and closing. So I always want to go ahead and disconnect that canister vent solenoid from the vehicle, and I'll use either a hand vacuum pump, or maybe I'll blow through it with a hose, or possibly a smoke machine, something. I want to energize that cylinder, and I want to do it and then close it, and I want to see and make sure that it's flowing properly the way how it's supposed to be. So that's what I mean by using some common sense approach to going ahead and diagnosing some of these different types of codes.